Sometimes, absence feels more present than any noise. There is a silence that weighs, not because of the lack of sound, but because of the lack of meaning. A void that cannot be explained, only felt. Even when everything seems in place, there's a subtle disconnection, as if something essential has faded. That feeling of being surrounded by people yet still alone, as if no one truly sees you, it's more common than we think. And yet, few talk about it with honesty, because there's an invisible pressure to appear well, to show gratitude, to display strength, even when the heart longs only to be embraced. This is the space this video aims to reach. Not to offer ready-made answers, but to serve as a vibrational mirror where you can see yourself, without masks, without rush, without pressure. Here, your pain won't be ignored. On the contrary, it will be honored as the starting point for something greater. Deepak Chopra, a physician and thinker who bridges science, practical spirituality, and integrative medicine, offers us a new perspective. True joy is not a reward earned when everything goes right. It is a vibrational state born from connection with essence. He reminds us that genuine joy is not found in what happens, but in the energy with which we experience it. It is not something we chase externally, but something that awakens within when we stop trying to appear happy and allow ourselves to simply feel. And that's when we encounter the uncomfortable truth. Superficial happiness, sustained by achievements, relationships, or distractions, lacks the strength to fill the deep energetic void within us. It only postpones the encounter with ourselves. When we feel disconnected from life, from purpose, from something greater, we are not spiritually failing. We are being called. A call from the field of consciousness itself, asking us to return. Loneliness, dissatisfaction, the sense that something is missing. These are echoes of forgotten joy, not signs of personal failure. There is an invisible blockage, a silent pattern that convinces us we must chase joy, as if it were a trophy. But the more we search outside, the further we drift from the inner source that sustains not only emotional lightness, but physical vitality, mental clarity, and the quality of our relationships. In this video, we'll walk together on a path, a grounded, profound, and above all, a possible one. A path that crosses the quantum field of consciousness, enters the biology of emotions, and touches the energetic body. We will speak of joy as frequency, as healing, as reconnection. This is an invitation to a quiet transformation that begins when you say yes, not to the world, but to yourself. You are about to remember the light that has always been yours. Not all joy shows itself in smiles. Sometimes, it reveals itself as a subtle relief in the chest, a loosening of the invisible tension you didn't even realize you were carrying. True joy, the kind that doesn't depend on what happens outside, is not a fleeting emotion. It is an energetic frequency that vibrates quietly, yet profoundly, when you reconnect with what is essential. We live in a culture that demands constant happiness. There's a silent expectation to appear joyful, to perform gratitude, even when the soul is simply asking for rest. That demand is exhausting, and it separates us from ourselves, because authentic joy cannot be forced. It blooms when we stop striving to be something and simply remember who we are. Deepak Chopra puts it with clarity. Joy is an experience of our deepest spiritual nature. In other words, joy doesn't come from achieving something. It emerges when we return to our spiritual wholeness. It's not an escape, nor an accomplishment. It's a soul memory. But there's a subtle, nearly invisible mistake that many of us make without noticing. Believing that joy lies in others, in ideal circumstances, in new achievements. This is the silent error of seeking joy outside yourself. We expect a new relationship to bring lightness, a job change to fill the void, a trip to reignite inspiration. And when it doesn't, we feel even more distant, more frustrated, more lost. The transition from emotional scarcity to fullness begins with an internal gesture, leaving behind the ego's need to control and entering the spirit's quiet permission. It's no longer about multiplying reasons to be happy. It's about remembering who you are at your core, a vibrational being, already whole, even in the midst of chaos. There is a simple practice that can serve as a bridge to this remembrance. Sit quietly, just for a moment. Allow your body to find comfort. Then, bring to mind a memory of genuine joy, something that touched your soul even briefly. It might be spontaneous laughter, a tender gaze, a moment in nature. Don't just visualize it. Feel it. Let the sensation expand through your chest, flow into your belly, reach your hands, fill your eyes. Allow the memory to become vibration. This is the state where heart and mind enter coherence. And perhaps subtly, you will notice the first signs of vibrational joy activating. A lightness in the body, as if something was released. A quiet curiosity about life. A spontaneous openness to truly listen to someone else. These are not loud signs, but they are transformative. Vibrational joy doesn't demand. It invites, and the invitation always begins within. True joy is not reserved for grand moments. It doesn't depend on extraordinary events. In fact, it reveals itself most fully in simplicity, in unnoticed details, in ordinary moments that, when lived with presence, become sacred. But for this to happen, joy must be cultivated, not with effort, but with intention. There's a belief that quietly limits us, the idea that joy is a result, that it will come later once everything is in place. Once the problems are solved, the dreams fulfilled, the pain gone. But Deepak Chopra reminds us this belief is a myth. Joy is not a reaction to events. It is an inner condition that, once activated, reshapes experience. And more than that, it transforms the body. When you vibrate in joy, your body responds with an internal alchemy of healing. Hormones like oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin are released, fostering physical well-being, strengthening immunity, and awakening the capacity for emotional connection and empathy. It's not magic. It's coherence between emotion and biology. And there is one essential element in this process: gratitude. Chopra emphasizes that grateful attention has the power to expand the field of consciousness beyond our worries. Gratitude, when truly felt, not as a moral obligation but as real vibration, becomes a catalyst for vibrational joy. It shifts our focus from what is missing to what is already pulsing. And what pulses expands. The practice can be simpler than it seems. Think of it as a brief but transformative ritual. 3 movements, 3 moments of return. First, initial silence. 1 or 2 minutes simply to feel your body. No action needed. Just be. Sense your feet, the air, the weight of your hands. Then, evoke a moment of lightness. A memory that brings laughter, tenderness, or wonder. Can be something small, a gesture, a scene, a phrase. Relive it with sensory detail, sounds, scents, colors, textures. Finally, inspired action. A simple gesture that extends that vibration. Play a song that soothes you. Go for a walk with no destination. Offer a kind word to someone without expecting anything in return. Let your inner joy take visible form. Personal accounts show that the consistent practice of small acts of kindness, even the most discreet, generates what researchers call collaborative euphoria. A study cited by Chopra confirms that such gestures increase oxytocin levels and intensify the sense of belonging. It's as if the heart recognizes it is not alone, that there is beauty in giving just as much as in receiving. But there is a subtle obstacle that needs to be met with compassion. Many give up after the first week, not from lack of belief, but because they automatically return to the field of stress. The everyday world, with its demands, tries to pull us back. And without a simple ritual of anchoring, the new vibration has no place to settle. So the practice is not about rigid discipline, but soul fidelity. It's a daily reminder that your joy is a seed. And like all seeds, it needs space, time, and care. It is in the quiet cultivation of presence that joy ceases to be a fleeting feeling and becomes home. There is a subtle moment, almost imperceptible, when something inside us shifts. Not because of a great achievement, nor a dramatic revelation, but simply because we stopped. We paused, and we felt. It is in this moment that vibrational joy begins to return. Like an inner light, not to illuminate the world, but to remind us that it still lives within us. Let us gently revisit what was shared, like someone returning to a sacred memory. True joy does not arise from events. It is an internal frequency that pulses quietly when we reconnect with our spiritual essence. It's not optional. It's foundational, not a luxury, but a vibrational necessity for a life with meaning, health, and presence. Deepak Chopra has shown us that this joy is not an escape from pain. It is a return to wholeness. And when we cultivate it from within, we not only feel lighter, we also reprogram our biology. Hormones, neural pathways, vital energy, everything responds, because your biology listens to your spirituality. And perhaps the most important truth, cultivating this frequency doesn't require big rituals. Just awareness and small gestures, repeated with presence. Silence, memory, breath, a grateful word, a moment of tenderness, kind action. This is the practice that roots your vibration in something greater than everyday chaos. If possible, begin now. Set aside 5 minutes today. Find a quiet space. Bring to mind a memory of genuine joy. Breathe with it. Let it expand in your body. Then, attach that feeling to a simple gesture. Drink a glass of water. Look at the sky. Whisper thank you. Life doesn't need much to transform. It only needs presence. Observe with gentle attention the subtle shifts. Your body will respond. Your mood will soften. Your perception of others will begin to open. Joy is the inner light that paints your world from the inside out. When you turn on that light, everything around you finds color. Not because it changed, but because you changed the way you see, feel, and exist. Now, if you feel moved to co-create this vibrational field with more awareness, share in the comments. What recent moment brought you true joy? Which practice resonated with your soul? And how did your body respond to that vibrational memory? Together, we can sustain a field where joy is no longer the exception, but a living, accessible, and shared frequency. May your light vibrate wherever you are,